Hey everybody, this is Mr. Horton with a series of video backup lessons for Studio Art 1, Studio Art 2, and film appreciation and cinematography. Verni Arts, Iona Prep. All right, guys, welcome back to Cinematography Shadow Box, and this is going to be the third project grade and the final project grade for this project, and probably the hardest step to figure out. So right now I'm looking at my background of my picture, which is glued down on my second sheet of foam core. So I have like a little bit of a crevice here from where this would fit in. Okay, I got my foreground picture and I got my extra sheet, which is going to become my buttresses or my struts that are going to lift up the elevated pieces. All right, so the first thing you're going to do with this project is you're looking at your foreground piece, or for some of you it will be numerous pieces. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out per level of this how this works in 3D moving forward. So with Neo here, I have a pretty logical route. This background hand is at my furthest back point. So that's going to be my lowest background, my lowest leveled area moving off of this. So I'm going to start with this hand. Now per level, if this is level 1, which is the one that's just touching the foam core, the hand is going to be 2. The wrist is 3. His bicep is 4. Head and torso, kind of going around the shoulder blade right here, is 5. Bicep here is 6. Wrist is 7. Hand is 8. Okay. Now, in total, that's 7 layers on this, 8 in total if you're counting this one. Okay. You are not going to want to go past 8 layers on this one. Okay. Because for every additional layer, it's another 2 squares. So even with me getting 7 here, it's 14 squares high, which is going to be like, not exaggerating, it's going to be probably about that high, okay, coming off of this picture, okay? We'll get to that, all right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my X-Acto blade and a cutting board, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to separate all the layered chunks of this. And I'm going to be very, very careful that when I do this, I'm not accidentally losing any pieces. Okay, that's a big, big thing, okay? We're going to cut to me cutting this up. All right, so I've now cut out the pieces of Neo into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces, okay? Now, when you go to cut these with the X-Acto blade, it's the same process we used when we were cutting on the background. You're going to want to do a slice pass. You're going to want to do a dot pass. You're going to want to flip it, and then look at the dots, and then connect the dots in the background with a background cut, and then if it's not cut enough, dot again, and then look at the back, recut, and then punch it out, okay? You shouldn't have that much trouble because the smaller the pieces, the easier they are to put downward pressure on. It's only hard when it's the big piece and removing the background. It'll get easier as you go, okay? So I have my pieces separated. Now, I have a Sharpie out. You can use a pen or anything with this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over these pieces, and I'm just going to label the back of them in numbers. So for every layer, okay, I'm just going to put a number down. So like I said, the background layer is 1. So I'm going to start with 2. So on the hand, I know this is the only thing on this layer. So I'm just going to put a 2 there. Okay. Now remember, you might have numerous things on the same layer. It might not just be one thing. It might be many things on that same layer. Okay. All right, because again, you're working on planes of depth. But versus mine, remember, my character, Neo, is at this severe diagonal coming forward. So none of my layers are going to be on the same layer. Okay, it's going to be, again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 going forward. All right. So I'm going to go back through. I'm going to put numbers on these. Okay, so now I've gone through and I've put in numbers. So again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, now my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my extra sheet of foam core. Remember, some of you guys for the extra sheet of foam core, you have little pieces that I put in a bag, okay, for this. So you might have it a little bit easier. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the X-Acto blade and I'm going to start cutting away. I'm just going to start cutting lines on these, and then I'm going to start cutting those into little squares. Okay, guys, so I have my pieces out here, and now I've gone through and I've cut up a bunch of that extra sheet of foam core into varying sizes of squares. So, like, I have, like, little squares here, I got medium squares here, and I can just kind of keep going up in sizes until I was doing, like, these, like, Kit Kat-sized ones, okay? Which I'm probably going to mostly use in this big one. All right, so we're going to go to the smallest numbered layer on the grouping. I'm going to make sure I have my glue out. Again, make sure the glue's open and it's breathing. I'm gonna go to my lowest zone here. And now, for every zone, you're gonna add 2 squares. So on my lowest number, 2, my next layer up from the background layer that's already glued down, I'm gonna be gluing down 2 squares, okay? So I'm gonna take 2 squares in my hand, and I'm gonna take the glue. I'm gonna put the glue like literally right in the middle of that area. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount, by the way, because foam core is designed to like fuse with Elmer's glue. Okay, so again, I'm gonna put the 2 squares down, one glued on top of the other one, just like this. You can see the depth right there. So it's 1 square, 2 square. Again, they don't need to be perfect. And I'm just gonna let this dry. Okay, that's gonna just sit over here. Actually, put that off screen. All right, now I'm gonna go to my next layer, layer 3. Okay, now for 3, we're doing an additional 2 squares. So now instead of it being 2 squares, it's now 4 squares we're putting down on layer 3. One thing I'm being very cautious of when gluing these pieces down is I don't want the squared strut pieces to break the outside contour line of the cut piece. Meaning, don't glue it like this. See how it's going off? You don't want to do that. You want it to get it centered in a place. And if the square is bigger than the zone, you're gonna have to cut the square down with the X-Acto blade. Just make the square smaller to fit, or just cut it to fit, okay? It doesn't have to be the entire area. So, all right, I got this one done. This one's gonna dry now. Now my next zone, 4. Again, I'm gonna add in another 2 squares. So on zone 1 we did, on the second layer we did 2. This one we did 4. We're now doing 6, okay? So again, I've got 2, I've got 4, I've got 6. I'm going to glue all 6 of these together into a strut. Okay, and just like that, I've glued the 6 down to the next zone. So again, we're moving here. Like you can see the height difference, okay? All right, next zone, which is 5, the biggest one I have on my entire picture. Now with this one, I need 8 squares on this one. Okay, and I got these big ones over here. I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I actually have exactly 8 here. Okay, so I'm gonna glue the 8 of these together into a strut, and I'm gonna put this in a space. Okay, I've now glued the 8 down. I mean, it's not exact. They're kind of like this, whatever. That's fine, but the 8 are down. Okay, now the thing is though, structural integrity wise, I can't just leave this one strut. I have to put a second 8 high strut around the head area. So I'm gonna actually use some of these small ones over here. And I'm gonna do 8 again up here, just so it's structurally sound in 2 spaces. So we're back. I got, now I got 8. It's leveled, okay? I'm gonna move on to my next one, which is this one, which now, this is gonna be 10 boxes. All right, so there's the next one, that's 10, and you'll notice I did 2 struts, so 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, there's 10 on both, okay? Make sure that dries. Now, next one I'm going to is this one. It's gonna be 12. I'm actually gonna start using these longer ones with this one. Okay, look, so I got now, this is 12, so we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 across this one. Okay, last one and the highest level I have to do, my number 8, which is 14. Okay, so that's 14 high, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, yeah, 14. Now, I'm gonna let all of my things dry here for like 30 minutes, okay? Be right back. Okay, so my pieces are dry. I've got my background image. I've got my glue, okay? So I'm gonna find now, again, my lowest level, which is Neo's hand, Okay, I got my strut here, and I'm gonna take my glue, and I'm gonna glue on the end of the strut. Again, I don't have to put a crazy amount on the end, and I'm just gonna glue this in place. Okay, now one important thing when you're gluing these is you really wanna keep visually looking at this vertical, like directly down, just so you're getting the lines synced up properly, because again, from here, it's off, but from here, it really shouldn't look wrong. All right, I'm gonna keep going through and I'm gonna glue on the rest of these. Okay, here's the next layer up, the wrist. Okay, here's the next layer up, his bicep. Okay, so again, from a vertical standpoint, still looks good. Okay, here's the next layer up, which is his torso. Now we're really getting, you could see all the way through, like, look, you see my hand over there. All right. But yeah, again, from a vertical, it's looking pretty good, okay? Next one. Okay, so there's his next bicep. Okay, there's his forward wrist. Okay, so there it is. I got the hand glued in, which is just, again, just crazy high off. And you could just see, like, going through here, all the level things. And again, like I said, look at the diagonal there. You can just see it going right up, okay? From right here, it's cool. It's like an optical illusion. You get the background. I kind of like how you can see, like, the cutout. That's kind of cool. Yeah, all right. So what do I want you guys to submit for this, for the project grade? I want, number one, I want a dead aerial centered picture. And then the second image, I want an isometric shot that looks something like this. Okay, so you're going to submit those two images to Classroom for the project grade for this, the final grade for the cinematography shadow box. And again, the big hurdle you're going to have in this, I don't think it's necessarily cutting it. It's going to be figuring out what level each layer is on. And if you are confused about any of that, please just email me and I'll help you as best I can with your pictures. Okay, so good luck on this project. If you have any questions about the assignment, email me or refer to the project on Google Classroom. See you in class.